So the verdict is officially in when it comes to Juwan Howard and Greg Gard. Let's see what happened. By word of the University of Michigan, officially Juwan Howard, head coach of the Michigan men's basketball team, is suspended for the remainder of the season. And on top of that, he was also fined $40,000. In addition, Michigan forwards Terrence Williams and Moussa Diabate were each suspended 1 game for their roles in the altercation as well between Juwan Howard and Wisconsin coach Greg Gard. On top of that, Wisconsin guard Jacoby Neath was suspended as well for 1 game. In addition, the Wisconsin head coach Greg Gard was not suspended, but he was fined $10,000. And I'm not mad about the way things were handled. Let's be totally honest. Both universities handled things swiftly. They dropped their responses. They had I guess you'll call it they responded to the incident, and they were supremely embarrassed, and ultimately justice needed to be served in some shape, way, or form. And I'm not mad at what the universities did. I actually agree with the sentencing, or I guess I agree with the punishment for Juwan Howard. He should be suspended for the rest of the regular season. Granted, March Madness is about to start, so it's not much left for the regular season to begin with. But Juwan Howard, rightfully so, deserved to get suspended. I believe Greg Gard should have been at least suspended 1 game, at the very least 1 game, because he essentially initiated the physical contact, but he was fined $10,000, which is a slap on the wrist, really, for a head coach making that kind of money in Wisconsin. And then $40K for Juwan Howard, that's petty cash for him. I really feel for those young guys, really, the guys Terrence Williams II and Moussa Diabate from Michigan, and Wisconsin guard Jacoby Neath. I feel for those 3 young men, because they were dragged into an onslaught that really wasn't their own doing. And ultimately, the kids, the youth, these players, they suffer more than the adults. And the coaches, they're supposed to be the adults in the room, right? But clearly that wasn't the case. Greg Gard was being petty. Juwan Howard was being petty. Both of these guys handled that situation terribly, and they set a bad example for their guys. But most notably, their guys, 3 of their players are taking a hit. Two players from Michigan, 1 player from Wisconsin, and that's not cool to me. I understand they were involved in an altercation, but they ultimately were just defending their head coach because they didn't know how the situation could have went. But they did have a role in the situation. They did have a role in how things played out. But you got to put more pressure on Greg Gard. You got to put more. You got to put all that pressure on those head coaches, because I don't like these. I don't like the players being reprimanded for this situation. Well, especially the situation they did create. They finished the game professionally. They shook hands in the handshake line, and they didn't do nothing wrong. Now they got caught up in the madness, just like everybody else. Now the guy that got smacked by Juwan Howard, he didn't get suspended. He didn't get no disciplinary action. But I'm really curious to find out what he said to Juwan Howard to make him smack him. Like, I need to know what made Juwan Howard smack the taste out your mouth, because there's no way he did it for no absolute reason. I know Juwan Howard, from what I've been hearing through the grapevine, has a history of, kind of flying off the handle in some of these games. But I need to know what made Juwan Howard smack you, assistant head coach, and not smack the real head coach in Greg Gard. What made him smack you? But all in all, I'm glad both universities, I'm glad the Big Ten handled the situation swiftly, and they didn't allow it to linger on in the week. This is going to blow over, you guys. Let's just call it what it is. And there's nothing really much more to milk out of this story, except for the fact that 3 athletes got caught up in the madness and suspended for 1 game. Granted, it's only 1 game, but I just wish those guys would have never had to lose that kind of time, that valuable time, especially when you're trying to help your team's championship hopes, your team's March Madness hopes. And on top of that, you probably try and go to the league. So maybe you were looking forward to that favorable matchup that could potentially boost your draft stock. But, all in all, I feel bad for the kids, man. The adults, they got dealt with exactly the way they needed to get dealt with. I probably would have gave Greg Gard a 1-game suspension as well. But nonetheless, it is what it is, you guys. I'll leave it at that. I'm your humble host, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. One love, stay humble, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay hungry.